Everybody, thank you for being here. Rob Bonta, California Attorney General. I first want to start by welcoming our incredible governor. Wonderful to have him at the California Department of Justice, as always, and want to thank him for his courage, his conviction, his inimitable leadership. It's always a pleasure to stand with the governor, literally, and also in our work here, and that's what we're here to talk about. We're standing together in our shared mission to protect and defend California and Californians, and the report my office is putting out today is proof of that mission in action, and this is the report as required by the legislation to report back to the legislature on how we're using the special session funding. It sets forth how we've used the $5 million so far and goes through the different cases and other efforts and actions that we've taken to date. And as I like to say, as others say as well, we are bringing the receipts. And so let me talk about what we've accomplished. Since President Trump took office on January 20th, the federal administration has led a sweeping campaign to illegally withhold funding and services, to dismantle the federal government, and to strip Californians of their constitutional rights. In return, California DOJ has had to file 37 lawsuits against the federal administration in just 28 weeks, more than one lawsuit per week. We've successfully secured early relief in 17 of 19 cases where we've asked for it and where the court has ruled. So out of 19 times where we've gone to court and asked for a temporary restraining order or a preliminary injunction, 17 of those times we've gotten it. Today we have 13 court orders blocking President Trump's illegal actions. On top of that, there have been other instances where the administration has conceded and reversed course outside of a court ruling, without a court ruling to document and affirm that fact. So there's other metrics for victory as well. One example of that is just recently, when days after we filed a lawsuit, the Department of Education restored funding it had illegally frozen and that we had made a subject of our lawsuit. We've also brought more than 40 amicus briefs, filed more than 40 amicus briefs in support of other related cases that are aligned with our mission and our work. In just the first 6 months, California DOJ's actions have restored, protected, and defended over $168 billion in federal funding that our state, that our communities, that our families rely on. So $5 million of special session money to fund the work, to support attorneys and paralegals in my office, $168 billion protected. That means that for every $1 we've been given by the legislature and the governor from special session funding to do this work, and we are very grateful for that funding, we've returned $33,600 for the state. $1 for $33,600 in return. And just to put it in perspective, if you told a Wall Street investor they'd get a $33,000 return on every $1 invested, they would trip over themselves to get in on that deal. In its first week, the Trump administration tried to freeze $3 trillion with a T dollars in nationwide funding. Less than 24 hours later, we were in court to freeze him in his tracks, saving $168 billion for California alone, 1/3 of our state's annual budget. When the administration's initial attempt at a wide net cut failed, it changed course and it flooded the zone with near constant attempts to cut off funding anywhere and everywhere they saw an opening. Like a dangerous and unruly game of whack-a-mole. They kept coming for the same funding, to cut it off, to impound it. We've been ready to strike back at every turn, securing early court wins to protect a total of $11 billion from the onslaught of successive attacks, some of which were repeated attempts to claw back the same funding sources we'd already protected from in our first effort in week one. So we protected it once in week one, they came after it again, we defended it, that funding again. Through those lawsuits, we saved approximately $7 billion in grants to upkeep the roads, railways, and airways and bridges that connect our communities, that ensure our people can safely get to work, get to school, and return home at the end of the day. We saved $939 million for California schools just weeks before classes started again. Funds for before, after, and summer learning programs, teacher preparation programs, and to support students learning English. We saved $972 million in critical public health funding for the state, funding that ensures access to immunizations, that identifies, tracks, and addresses infectious diseases, and that modernizes our public health system. And we saved more than $300 million for electric vehicle infrastructure to ensure our state is ready and able to move into a future driven by electric vehicles. Those are just some of the examples of the savings that we've had, the successes that we've secured. California isn't even asking for its fair share of federal funding. After all, we are the biggest donor state in the country, paying more federal taxes than we get back in return. What we're demanding is that we get the funding that's already been legally approved and appropriated to our state. Funding that comes from our tax dollars to support our schools, healthcare, transportation, and much more. The money is critical, and it touches every corner of California. But our work goes far beyond dollars and cents. It's also about stopping the federal administration from senselessly tearing down the federal government and the services Americans count on it to provide, paid for by our tax dollars. Is our government perfect? No, no institution is. But lighting it on fire and walking away is not the answer. That only stands to hurt our people and set our nation back for generations to come. We blocked the administration's attack on the Department of Health and Human Services because we need it to continue protecting the health and safety of millions of Americans, to combat infectious diseases, reduce smoking-related deaths, and ensure all families have access to early childhood programs. We blocked its attempt to dismantle AmeriCorps so volunteers can continue to answer the call to serve their country and their fellow American by tutoring students, serving veterans and older adults, fighting the opioid epidemic, and rebuilding our communities in the wake of disaster. We're also working to defend our constitutional rights, hard-fought rights the president cannot rewrite with the stroke of a pen, though he's tried. We are fighting for birthright citizenship and the more than 24,000 babies born in California each year who are rightfully U.S. citizens. So far, we've won multiple court orders blocking implementation of the executive order while our case proceeds. And we're working to safeguard Californians' personal and private data from government misuse, specifically from protecting it from DOJ and from private citizen billionaire Elon Musk, not elected to anything, by the way. We blocked the poorly named Department of Government Efficiency from accessing your financial data, sued the administration for illegally sharing Medicaid data with ICE, and challenged demands that we turn over the sensitive and personal data of SNAP recipients. When you add it all up, you see the totality of what's at stake. The California dream. The idea that every Californian, no matter how they look, where they live, or how much money they have, can send their kid to school, go to the doctor when they're sick, and put food on the table and a roof over their heads. Can work hard, support their families, and give back to their communities. Can rely on their federal and state government to have their back. I want to be very clear. I don't want to have to file these lawsuits. I'd much rather work with the federal government to serve, protect, and uplift our people and our state. In fact, the moment the Trump administration stops breaking the law and violating the Constitution, we'll stop suing. It's simple. Until then, we have no choice but to take legal action. No one is above the law, not even the President of the United States. When you break the law, you need to be held accountable, plain and simple. The irony is the President has an enormous amount of lawful power at his fingertips. There's so much he can actually do legally. If he just stick to that, we wouldn't have a case against him. Instead, President Trump and his allies continue to abuse their power, break the law, violate the Constitution, and harm our people. Be it threats to our schools, research for our future, medical care for our sick, or infrastructure that keeps our communities working. There's too much at stake to sit idly by and follow and allow the president to continue unchecked. So you've got my word. Every time the president or his allies break the law, my incredible team of public servants at the California DOJ and I will be here to take them in court, just like we have 37 times already. As Attorney General, it's my job and my honor to protect California's people, resources, and values. I've got your back. I've got California's back. I'll protect your rights, your freedoms, your funding, and our values. And fortunately, I don't stand alone. I have a great team at the California DOJ, and I'm grateful to be able to stand with our great governor and our colleagues in the legislature. We're one team. The federal government might be content to forego its duty to serve the people, but the state of California never will. And now it's my great pleasure to welcome up my partner in this incredible work, Governor Gavin Newsom.
Thank you. Thank you to the Attorney General. Thank you for the comprehensive overview, and thank you for putting together this report in a transparent way. You may recall this report came out of a legislative process that began during the transition of the Trump administration. We called a special session. We did so in the spirit that defines, I think, the closing comments of the Attorney General, with an open hand, not a closed fist, with the intention not to litigate, with the intention not to initiate, but with the intention to defend, to stand tall, to hold the line in terms of our values, the things we hold dear, to advance the rule of law and do so in a fair way. We were mindful that past his prologue, that we were involved in over 122, arguably 123 lawsuits in the Trump administration, 1.0, and inevitably we would be faced with many similar lawsuits and efforts in the second administration, though I think none of us imagined in the process of putting together a special session that just in 7 or so months, 37 lawsuits would be filed. None of us are surprised that so many of them have been successful. Nothing about what Trump is doing should come as a surprise, save the scope, the scale, the shock and awe, as it's been described, of the totality of his efforts. Thankfully, we have an outstanding leader in our Attorney General. Someone didn't need to be convinced to fortify, to provide a bridge. That was the idea of the special session. After all, a bridge to the budget to make sure he had the resources so that he can move forward quickly, whether it was internal efforts or to the extent he needed to find counsel outside, he would have the luxury, he would have the resources to do so. With the support of the legislature, we not only advanced the $25 million in the special session, but with the support of the legislature just a few weeks ago, we also were able to significantly increase the ongoing support for our litigation posture here at the DOJ. I'm grateful to the Attorney General. I'm grateful to leadership in both the Senate and the Assembly for supporting new positions and supporting additional resources that will supplement the resources that were set aside, those one-time resources, the $25 million in the special session. It was never the intention to quote-unquote Trump-proof, your words, not mine, during the special session. But undoubtedly, those resources have come to bear great fruit. And I'm grateful again to your leadership, to your team's leadership, to your stewardship, to the partnerships that you've formed with other states. And I think this closing is a critical point. It's the old African proverb, you want to go fast, you can go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And the partnerships that have been formed with other attorney generals all across this country have been formidable and have had tremendous impact in terms of the success with these preliminary injunctions, success so far in this process. But none of us are naive about what's next, and none of us are naive about the imperative of making sure that we're resourced and we have a resourceful mindset as we move forward. Tremendous return on investment. But again, this is just 7 months into a new administration. And there's no question in my mind that the most vexing challenges are in front of us, not behind us. So I'm here just to support and amplify the work that was done in putting together this report, but also extend gratitude not just to the Attorney General, but again to the legislature for approving this appropriation, for supporting that special session, and setting up this strategy, first of its type in the country. We took this next administration, the new Trump administration, seriously, and thankfully we did. And I'm very, very proud of you and your team and grateful for the opportunity just to highlight and reinforce the success that's laid out today in this report.
Thank you, Governor Newsom. Appreciate the partnership again, the kind words, the ability to talk about in a transparent way what we've accomplished so far, and with clear eyes and a sober outlook, ready for whatever happens next. We will continue to do what we've already done. And I think what we've accomplished is proof positive of what we hope we can continue to accomplish on behalf of California, our people, our values, and our future. So with that, happy to answer any questions that you might have.